Welcome to episode 35 of Last Stitch Effort. This is my little place, my little channel where I talk about using up my stash and not adding to it, which is what I did this episode. My name is Pacasha and I'm joining you. You are joining me in beautiful sunny New Mexico, and it's insanely hot, so I'm not wearing any knit stuff, but I am wearing long sleeves, but it's netting, so does that count? Anyway, whatever. So yay, it's October. Don't know where September went, but that was nice, I guess, for some of us. Anyway, welcome. I have a lot of finished objects today and not a lot else to talk about, so I may pull in some spinning today, which I don't really talk about much because I don't really do it that much, and I do have something just kind of stuck on the wheel and stagnant, but I do have ideas brewing, so we'll talk about spinning a little bit. But first things first, not wearing hand knits, so check. Okay, numbers. So this time around, I currently stand at 47,927, and I think last time I talked to you guys, I was at almost 49,000 grams. So I used a lot. Well, I finished a lot of yarn out of my stash. Out of the first stage of yarn into the second stage of yarn. That's not true. There are many other stages. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I'm still, that number's still crazy, but I did use up a lot of yarn, and I'm super thrilled about that. I still have 285 entries in Ravelry, so I didn't use up anything, but we'll talk about that too. And that's the equivalent of 958 and a half 50-gram balls of yarn. So that's a big number, big number. And while I did not technically add to the stash this weekend, I am going to Mountain and Valley Wool Festival. I don't know. It's the one that used to be the Taos Festival, and now it's in Santa Fe. So this is like my first real wool festival that I'll get to go to. I've always wanted to go, but it's just kind of been bad timing or whatever. But anyway, so I get to go to that, and I'm super excited about that, and I'm not gonna like restrict myself because special occasion, and they're for the most part going to be smaller companies, and you got to support your local sheep farmers. So I'll talk about that too, maybe some things that I'm buying for. But anyway, let's just move on to the things that we need to talk about. This is all kind of boring at the beginning. Why do we do that? Why do we do admin at the beginning when that's the boring part? You want to see the knitting. So let's do some finished objects. Sorry about that. First thing I'm going to show you is the biggest, and this feels really good. I started this months ago. I started this when we got evacuated from the fire, and then I stopped because I thought I was running out of yarn, and I had to get more to add to it, but I didn't need to do that. So, but that's good to know for the next one, because there will be a next one. But this is my sea glass pullover. Not wearing it because it's hot, but it fits like a glove. It is awesome. Here, I'll hold it up so you can see some of the colors. They're for the most part like muted pastels. I am not really a pastel person. I am not even these colors of a person. I know it suits kind of my pink skin and blue eyes, but I prefer like dark, rich colors. But it still looks good, so it still goes with stuff, and I still love it, and I'm just so happy to be done with it. This is Woolen Pine, sea glass. I don't remember what size I made, like 44 or something like that. Yeah, and I made it kind of cropped so I could wear it with dresses. And that's it. I'm super pleased. It has so many different kinds of yarn in it, and pretty much, well, for the most part, they're all listed in my Ravelry page about this. I do have, below I'll have links, not links. I don't do links because a lot of you, well, a lot of people, I don't know about you specifically, are not Ravelry people. So I just put things in there so you can Google it yourself. Also, my Instagram and Ravelry profile names are below, so you should find me. That'd be great. I would love to friend you, and I would love to see what you're working on. Okay, so that was the biggest project. And then I finished off, there's just like this huge pile. It's kind of crazy over here. I finished off some itty bitty little slippers. These are like comfortable, I don't know, cozy slipper. I don't know. It's below, but it's by Temple of Knit, and I just changed the pattern to fit a little kid. So it's kind of blown out. This color is insanely bright. This is Hedgehog Fibres sock in Anemone, and I made a pair of socks last time. I talked about those for my cousin's kiddo, and now I have some slippers out of most of the leftovers for another little special kiddo in my life. So yay, they're so cute. And I have a few more slippers to do over the next few weeks, but yeah, we'll get there. And I also finished a pair of socks for one of my cousin's kiddos. This is, I think it's Piratenwolle. I don't know, I'm not sure. And it's, all their lots are different. All their colorways are different and kind of unique. This one I got several years ago, but it's kind of just a navy and gray, and there's some like blue in there, but more of a cobalt every now and then. Just basic little socks. I don't really know what base they use, but it's like a nice, good sock yarn, like a Regia or an Opal. I don't know. It's a good yarn. So finished those. And then, so I finished my sea glass. But the whole time I'm doing my sea glass, I'm like, I can't wait to do another one. And I'm going to do one in darker colors because I've got lots of darker scraps. Because, man, that thing uses up scraps. And it's a fun way to use up scraps. And it's a useful way to use up scraps without just having like weird little bird decorations or, you know, things like that. Usually I make knit pumpkins every year about this time and use up scraps, which is fine. That's fun, you know, and it uses up, especially like hand spun yarn. It looks great. But yeah, I'm kind of done with the little decorative things. So let's just move on to sweaters out of scraps now. Anyway, so I'm planning a darker version, but I think I'm going to do the sea glass cardigan this time, and I'm going to use teals and as like my main color, and then have like bring in like darker whatever scraps. So I had this lot of like 4 Drops Daisy, which kind of a newer purchase, and I knew that was one of the colors I wanted to add to my cardigan. And you know, my biggest thing is stash management. Like, I want to make sure that I'm using my stash in a way that aligns with my values. So I don't want to just like break into a sweater quantity of yarn and do a couple of small things, and then I don't have enough for a sweater, and then I'm stuck with an awkward amount. I feel like I've done that plenty of times in the past, and now like my main focus is using up my stash super effectively. So I knew that I was going to have leftovers even if I did like a hat and mitten set. I knew I would have like little odds and ends. So I wanted to go ahead and make the hat and mitten set. And so then I would have those to put into my sweater. So I wouldn't run out or think that I ran out like I did with the sea glass. I don't know. I'm putting these mittens on the wrong hands. But so I don't remember if I did the mittens or the hat first, because seriously, it was like just a knitting fest over here. But I did these mittens, and they are woolen pine also, and they're the Snowdrift mittens. These have not been blocked. And it's hard to see because of the dang ring light. But it's got like really cool cable and this nice little opening thing there, which I think looks like a pomegranate. So I kind of wish I had done these in red. Um, anyway, this is Drops Daisy. I don't remember what color it is, but it's like it's supposed to be dark teal. It's not super dark. But yeah, so I have these bad boys. They're so cute. And they fit really nicely. My only thing is I made size medium. And the sizes have different like finishings around the edges, and the other ones had a more satisfying curve, and this is kind of a blunt little square one, which is fine. It's not a big deal at all. They look good still, but I think they would have been better, and I probably should have taken the time to adjust that myself because I do have those skills, but I didn't. So yay, so I did those. Then, of course, I have to have a hat, but I like to be matchy-matchy, but not too matchy-matchy. This is the Prairie, something Prairie hat. That's bad, I forgot, but it's by Kalurah Hudson. Prairie Meadow hat? I'm not sure. I'll hold it up, but yeah, it's just a little beanie. Kalurah makes really cool cabled designs. So there's like little noops and a little lace panel and more little cables and noops. This is super nice to knit too. I really enjoyed it. I didn't do these little noop things quite how she said to because I'm not very good at crocheting, number one, which does make them a lot easier to do. If you don't really like doing baubles, knitted baubles, getting a crochet hook in there is great. But I ended up kind of changing it a little bit, and then like the next row after I did it, I just kind of wrapped my yarn around as I went to kind of tighten up. Like I would come to the stitch that the noop was on, and then I would wrap my yarn really tight so it kind of isolated that stitch and made it pop more. And I think also part of it was I knit through the back loop if I was knitting it. Anyway, I don't remember exactly the details, but I just kind of made it where, and you can kind of tell like this has been blocked, but you can kind of tell like the first ones aren't as good as like up here, and then the top ones are super, super bobbly. Because I finally figured it out. And God forbid I go back and fix it. So anyway, that's the new hat. I don't know if I'll keep these or give them to a friend, but they're done. And I've wanted to knit these for a bit, so yay. That was fun. And now, in a fit of madness last night, I cast this thing on for my daughter. So I've been making like toys for friends lately, and my daughter, she will be 18 very, very soon. But she still wants toys. She still wants her mom to make her toys. So I did. So this, I'm kind of scared. I don't want to get a cease and desist. This little guy, you may recognize from a certain British time traveling series, Witch Physician. Anyway, this is an Adipose from Doctor Who, and the pattern mazzmatazz, I think, is who designed it. Got a cease and desist from BBC because they need all the money. And so it's not an easy pattern to find, but you can find it. I did find it. And I've had it for a while, and I've actually made one before for my daughter. And I don't know where it went to, but she wanted another one. And oh, he's got the cutest little fingers. Oh, it was so fun to knit. I finished it last night. Wow. Oh, yeah. it just went fast. And I embroidered the little mouth on it. Kind of looks a little funky, but and put the little eyes in, and oh, he's just so cute. So these are the little babies of a certain alien race. And it was a David Tennant episode with Donna Noble, and I love those two together. So it's one of my favorite episodes, and it's just a cute little guy. And you know, that was one of the things we always watched Doctor Who together as a family. So yeah. So she has a little adipose, which means fat. Which I'm not going to tell you anymore. You should just watch Doctor Who if you don't. All right. So it's just so cute. Like, okay. All right. So that is all of my finished projects. I feel like that's a lot. I know that's a lot. Like, that was kind of crazy. I only have one work in progress, which seems mad to me, but this is the half and half triangles wrap by Purl Soho, but it was like, I don't remember the actual designers' names, which is awful. I feel like I should know that. I know there are two designers, like somebody came up with the first, like a blanket version, and then somebody changed that into a shawl version. This is obviously a shawl, but it's as big as a blanket. So this is, and I'm in the middle of a row. This is as far as I've gotten, which is, I'm making the large one, which is 260 stitches. And I'm using Purl Soho's Linen Quill. I believe this is Twig Brown. And my other color is Pale Mushroom. So it's going to be a nice neutral blanket. And Linen Quill is just amazing. So it does have linen in it. And then I think it's alpaca and wool. I'm not sure. It's really soft, but it's not like crazy, overwhelmingly hot or anything. It's got like a nice drapiness to it because of the linen. So I've made one before, and it uses about 2.5 balls per color. So I have 3 balls of each color, and that will be a nice chunk out of the stash when I finish that. I did, when I decided I wanted to try the half and half in the first place, I couldn't really decide on a color. And everybody kept talking about linen quills. I'm like, okay, well, I'll try it. And then it happened to be one of those weeks where Purl Soho did like 30% off or something. So since I am weak and I couldn't decide on colors, I kind of got several options. So the first one's pink and green. I think it was fresh pickle and lychee pink. And now this will be a more neutral one, which will be great. But I do still have quite a bit on this, way up here on this top shelf. It's not that far. I forget that my chair's higher now. Yeah, so I can still make another one and half of one. Why do I do that? Overbuy. I mean, I could have gone back for more if I needed to, but anyway, that's in my Cure bag. From the Cure tour last year. Very excited about their new album in a couple of weeks. All right, so let's talk about some plans. So I'm going to the Wool Festival. Super excited about that. I am planning, I made a list of kind of things that I would be looking for, so I don't just go in there blindly and buy not enough wool to make things that I want to make. So I have like a list of things that I could possibly buy for, and I'm not really sure what to expect. I know there'll be some smaller, like just sheep to yarn type. I'm so geeked out. I'm like so excited by the fact of getting like real yarn from people who look at these sheep in their eyeballs. I'm not going to get any fleeces. I do still have some. I went to the Spring Festival, which isn't a wool festival, but there just happened to be sheep and some shearing demonstration and a couple of booths that had some fiber. I did get some, and I have spun a little bit of it, not much. Oh, I feel like the light just did something really weird. Or maybe it's been like that and I just haven't noticed. The ring light makes me completely and totally blind. Normally I wear glasses, but I can't because of the ring light. That's why these are open too, because the ring light destroys glass and eyeballs. Anyway, one of the projects that I'm planning on making is a pair of Fiddlehead mittens by Hello Yarn, or Adrienne, I think it's Basilia. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but I've made so many pairs of these mittens. They're some of my favorite mittens to make ever. And I don't know if I saw a pair of Fiddlehead mittens or if I saw just another project using these two colors together. But the second I saw these two colors together, I'm like, that's some Fiddlehead mittens. Probably my favorite projects on Ravelry. I have it saved somewhere, but it doesn't matter. It's stuck in my head. And it's Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. I bought this. We went to Albuquerque right before lockdown, and this was one of the yarns that I bought. I had never bought Shelter before, and I'd never even seen it at any yarn shop before, because obviously I live in New Mexico. There's not a lot of yarn shops here, and I live way out far away from big cities in New Mexico, so I really don't have a lot of exposure. Anyway, so I had planned on these two colors if I ever saw them or ordered them online, and I saw them, grabbed them. Then the world shut down, and they were kind of Shrine of Precious for a while because it was not easy for me to get. And I feel like Shelter was kind of hard to get for a long time too. So this is Sap. Is that kind of greeny yellow color, which is one of my favorite colors. This is Thistle, which isn't even a colorway that they make anymore. And these two together are going to make fantastic color work. I am super excited for my mittens. However, there is a lining, like a mohair lining, and I don't really have any mohair that I really want to use for this. I do have a dark green, which would work. It would be fine. But that's one of the things I'm going to look out for, is maybe something hot pink. I used to have some hot pink Kitsilkes, Rowan Kitsilkes. It was Candy Girl or something like that. But I don't have that anymore, so yeah, so that's one of the things I'm gonna look for. I'm also planning on casting on Gudrun Johnston's new cowl. I think it's called Snowdrift, and it's a really cool mosaic like texture, and it uses mohair and then several kinds of like Jameson of Shetland like colors, which I have a lot of that, and I have several ideas for colorways. But I didn't really want to commit to anything because you also need mohair, and I just don't have a lot of mohair. So that's another mohair skein that I'm going to look for. Hopefully Santa Fe has some mohair. If not, no biggie. I'll figure it out. But that's one of the things I'm going to shop for, possibly. Look for anyway. What else do I have coming up? So I'll be casting on... Oh, I didn't tell you guys. I frogged my frame. I tried it on, and it was not going to be the size that I wanted. And I wanted it to be kind of a tighter gauge too, because I'm a very loose knitter. So I thought, I want this to be exactly how I want it to be. I want it to be worth my time and, something that I'm going to wear. Because that's another thing that's super important to me, is that I actually make things that are useful. Toys aside, they're useful. They're useful, just not... Maybe not to grown-ups. Apparently they're useful to 18-year-olds, but that's okay. Anywho, yeah, so I'm going to be casting on for that cardigan over recasting on for framed, because as I was frogging it, I'm like, oh, this gray color, which was Premier Yarns Stitch Please, All Bats Are Off. It's a nice, like, medium, almost a cool gray. I was like, that really needs to be a Nightingale by Nora Gone. And I've really wanted to make that for a long time. And I just finished Rings of Power, and I think it very much mimics Galadriel's like chest piece that she was wearing in the last episode. Oh, she's so lovely. She is so lovely. She's an idiot, but she's lovely. The actress is lovely. Galadriel's a flippin' idiot. Anyway, I love that series though. I know a lot of like real Tolkien fans aren't the biggest fan, but I think it's fantastic. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I know it's not canon. I know, why the hell is Tom Bombadil and Rune like, I know there's like made up people. It's crazy, but that's kind of how things work. Like, people can get mad, oh, you're building on something that needs to be left alone. That's how science works. That's how everything works. That's how everything in the world works. You take something and you expand on it, right? So I'm cool with it. I think it's great. I don't like covers of Nirvana and Cure songs, though. They need to be left alone. There's a lot of opinions. Anyway, another thing I wanted to discuss was a possible spin that I am thinking about doing. A lot of my friends, well, two of my friends are going to do a Nightshades shawl. Is that what it's called? By Andrea Mowry. And they are using, not Dyed in the Wool, Spin Cycle Dream State. I don't know that I want to buy that much of that. That's a big investment money-wise. I have lots of yarn. I have lots of fiber. And I do want to work through that. That's my number one priority. I'm not opposed to buying things, but I don't really need to. So that's what I'm trying to focus on. So I'm going to show you some fiber that I have picked out. It's a lot. I'm sorry if that moved anything. I am not the biggest fan of spinning merino. It's not super fun for me. But I do have a lot of it in my stash, and I thought, I mean, if anything, it's going to spin kind of quickly. I can do a 2-ply and get it worsted pretty easily. It'll be soft, it'll be pretty, whatever, and you know, I mean, it takes the colors so well. So I just grabbed a bunch of merino from wherever I could find it, and I'm trying to find colors that will kind of work together a little bit. There's going to be a lot of wrinkling. I'm crinkling. So, I mean, this will be the ASMR segment of my podcast. So the first thing, I don't know which order I'm going to do yet. I won't know until I spin. So this is some old, it's Elixir is the colorway, and it's Southern Cross Fibres. And this was just like clearance. These are just little bits that he had left over and put on sale. This has been in my stash for years. Like, David from Southern Cross isn't even dyeing anymore, which breaks my heart because he's an amazing dyer. But oh god, it's so soft. It's gonna be so lovely. But I have like a bunch of this, so it's kind of got purples and greens and this lovely like chartreusey green every now and then. And then a lot of like, not a lot, but some like almost undyed areas, which he doesn't really do a whole lot of. Okay, I gotta fix some stuff or it's gonna collapse. Here, we can throw you on the ground. Also, like, we have these like cosmos flowers, and they have seeds, and our cats are bringing in so many, so it's like, I'm super scared about putting any knitting on the ground because it's going to pick up these stupid seeds and get ruined because they do not wash out. They don't, oh, they're just the worst. Okay, so there's Elixir, and that's a superwash merino. And I mean, most of my fiber is like 4-ounce, like braids or bumps, whatever, because I get clubs, and I'm not in any fiber clubs right now. I'd love to get into Hello Yarn, but she opened up while we were evacuated, so I couldn't get back in. It was just bad timing, and now she's closed again. But this is Hello Yarn. I think it's Bairn Brack. I don't know how to say it. I'll hold that up. See, I don't know. Can you read that? Okay. Well, it's got kind of that toffee golden color that I think will go with Elixir, and it's got some kind of purpley raisiny colors. It's be nice and deep. and that is a merino also. And then I have 2 bumps of this. This is, I was not prepared to talk about this, but I thought since I don't have like any knitting going on. Okay, this is Hello Yarn also. This is Cloudy Skies. It's another merino, but it has some Tessa silk in it. And this has got some blues and teals. And once again, kind of that caramely toffee color. Super pretty. And so soft. I just ate a little bit. So we've got 2 bumps of that. Let's just do this one next. This one is another Hello Yarn. This is Waterweed, and it's merino and Tessa also. And it's got some blues and like green, like scummy greens, which are my favorite. And I think they look fantastic with those, the golds and the brown toffee-ish colors. So it's going to be a decadent shawl, like, and in the scheme of things, it did, price-wise, it's comparable to just buying a whole bunch of Dream State. And then the rest I have are just some kind of like just one color merinos. Like, they're not, I'm not going to show you these. I may have enough just spinning that to do a whole shawl, but I do have some solids by Hello Yarn and Southern Cross, like coordinates that they offer. But I'll just leave those in there because they're kind of just boring colors, and I probably won't use them. I think I definitely have enough for a shawl. I mean, it's like a pound and a half of fiber. So yeah, so that's what I would like to work on. I do still have a spin on the wheel right now that's just kind of hanging out there for a bit. So I'm not going to finish that spin. I will finish half of the singles. I'll finish all the singles that I've got going on right now. I have like one color and I'm going to apply it with another color. So I'll finish the one color singles and then I'll move on to this big spin. And I think that will be a fun project coming up. It is definitely going to be a long-term project, but I like doing it. I mean, most of my fiber stash, as I said, was like 4-ounce bumps. So it's nice to combine them to a big project because there's really only so many hats you can make. And I think it'll be nice. I think it'll be super special. And what else? Oh, let's talk about me buying some yarn. I do have some yarn on the way. And that is because I get a little emotional because I always do. My daughter is in her senior year right now, and we did a tour of a college, and just seeing the dorm room and knowing that this is likely going to be where she's going. She does have a couple of other options that she's still, we're just still deciding stuff, but I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to offer to make her blanket and see if she would like it, just so I can help create a home for her since she's not going to be at home anymore. I'm not handling this very well. I'm the worst. I'm going to be the worst empty nester ever. Anyway, super excited for her though. I mean, yeah. So she actually agreed to that. I'm super excited about that. She doesn't, usually I ask her well, no, not usually. I constantly ask her, do you need any sweaters? Do you want any socks? Do you need anything? And anytime she says yes, I jump on it because there were years where she was like, ugh, and so now I get like excited. Like, that's why she got an Adipose, and she's gotten a few socks over the last year. So she said yes to a blanket, and the blanket she decided on was Isolde Teague's Nectar, which is kind of, I think it's a hexagonal shape. And it starts in the center, I believe, and goes out, and it's got this lovely lace, It's just gorgeous. And then it's got a garter border. So while I do prefer all natural fibers in my everyday life, that doesn't work for everybody in every situation. And I am 100% cool with that. And going to college is one of those times. So I ordered some acrylic. I don't even like saying it, but it's going to be beautiful. I don't care. It's whatever. Sometimes acrylic is what you need to use. So I bought some acrylic. It's on the way. It's a color changing one. I'll show you when it gets here and it's grays and pinks. And then I think I'm going to do a gray border. We'll kind of play it by ear. And then I know she doesn't watch this, so I'm going to talk about this. There's also, so I'm going to do like a big one that will fit like a twin size bed because she's going to be in the dorm, especially her first year. So I'm also planning on making her like a pillow, like a throw pillow type thing that will kind of coordinate or match. And then I was also thinking, I've always wanted to do a hemlock ring blanket by Jared Flood, which is really just an old Victorian doily that he knit using, I think it was Cascade Eco Plus or something like that. And that's a fabulous yarn, but once again, I knew that's not going to work. So I got some chunky pink yarn, and I'm going to make her one of those just as a smaller one so she can have her blanket on her bed and she can throw that over her shoulders if she needs it or whatever. Yeah, so I'm super excited. She's also really loved those monsters that I've been making, so I'm going to, whatever leftovers I have, she's going to get some kind of gray and pink and whatever pastel-y looking monster to go on her bed too, and the adipose that'll match. And I also have with that order, I ordered a couple of acrylic skeins also to finish off the slippers, because for the most part, most of the little kid slippers I've done lately have been just leftover acrylic anyway. But there were certain colors that I wanted to get for 2 people, and there should be enough to do another little tiny pair of slippers for a little guy that I'm excited to knit for. And so yeah, so I have that stuff coming. I have decided I'm not going to add it to my numbers because the second it gets here, I have to cast on. And that's, I mean, it should be here in the next week. So that's kind of one of the reasons I was just getting things off the needles, because I knew like I wanted to get this, I wanted to have the time to get this done. And I knew it was going to be a huge undertaking. And I figure it's not something that I bought to just sit in here, or that I didn't have a plan, or I knew I wasn't going to cast on right away. So I don't really, that is what I would consider stash. This, I mean, well, technically it's coming into the house. I got to use it up and all of it up like right away. So maybe that's cheating a little bit. I kind of don't feel like it is, because this is like my stash is kind of like my guilty, the bad things that I feel about in knitting. Like I wasn't prudent. I wasn't very thoughtful and, mindful and demure about my acquisitions. And now I'm trying to become the knitter that I want to be, where I get yarn for a project, I do the project, I don't have a lot of leftovers. If I do, I use them up right away. I don't want this. So yeah. So that's, I'm excited because I feel like I'm becoming that knitter, and that's my goal. So I'm trying not to, if I add all of those grams, because it's a lot, like, I mean, a blanket, a throw, and some pillow, like, it's a significant amount of yarn that I have coming. But I feel like I don't want to like penalize myself. And I'm not saying that it's all negative, but it's just different. It's just different. And I don't want to make myself feel bad for doing something nice for somebody that I love. Which I should probably say that about almost all of this, because that is kind of how it came to be. And I don't feel bad about knitting for myself either. It's just a mess. It's just a mess up in here. But anyway, I'm excited about everything that's going on. I am happy. I don't feel super guilty if I get some stuff this weekend. I feel like, hey, I use this stuff. I actually knit a lot, especially the last 2 weeks. Um, yeah, and it's just exciting. I'm in a good place with lots of things, so that's good. Um, Yay. I also okay, like I started this little sock, and then it's just not going to work for the person I intended it to work for. So I pulled that off the needles. I don't know if I even showed this last time, but yeah, I need to reball that up. It's knitter's nightmare. Slime and snails, which I know that that's like a very basic like rhyme, but I immediately think of labyrinth and only labyrinth when I hear that song. Anyway, I did ball up some more yarn because I was balling up some yarn for my friends. I said the nightshades, Cal. Night shift. Night shift. It's the night shift. Yeah, I was balling up or whatever, winding my friend's yarn for that, and so I wound a bunch more yarn. Hence me finally balling up my shelter. I'm super excited about that, and I like immediately as I do, I'm like, oh, I gotta go see what other colors of shelter there are for my next pair. This is how I get into this situation. And that's when I found out that Thistle isn't even being made anymore. Now it's like jam, homemade jam or something like that, and that's not even in stock like anywhere. Shelter's like hot commodity. And I know a lot of people complained about it because it is like a very loosely spun yarn, which I don't have a problem with at all, but I used to work at a yarn shop several years ago, and for a minute, we carried an unspun like plate, like a plotolopi type thing. I think it was like Columbia wools or something. Nobody kept that yarn. Everybody brought it back. They could not figure out how to use it. They did not have the patience to use it. They thought it was a horrible sham that the company was pulling over on them and not realizing that it's actually a thing. And anyway, people are funny. I understand that, but we always sold it and told them when we sold it, this is going to break on you. And then they would get mad when it broke on you. So, buyer beware. Like, whatever. Anyway, it was lovely. It was a little scratchy though, like Plotolopi. I don't have anything else to say. So hopefully I'll have some stuff to show you. I'm not an acquisitions like I don't. I'm not going to show off stuff. I don't do hauls ever. Um, but if there's something special, I may show you and just talk about it. I can't imagine I'm really going to get a whole lot. So anyway, uh, yeah, happy crafting. I hope you're having a great time. Tis the season for beautiful knitting, and oh my god, all the patterns coming out. Hi. Anyway, love you guys. Hope to talk to you soon, and I hope I have a lot of cool things to share. Bye.